I'm going to briefly go over the meanings of columns in the Wall Street Smoking Gun Report. In every report, at least the one sent by email or when you log in, will have a heading that tells you which report it is, because we do have several, and it'll tell you whether they're puts or calls, and it'll give you the date and time of that report. That's how you know if it's current. That timestamp will be the last, most recent report that's been generated on our server. It also gives you a put-call ratio, which tells you what the calls versus puts are in the current market since the last report. But to get to the columns, the first column is obviously the symbol, meaning the underlying stock of the option contract. Every row in this table, of course, is an options contract. Time hit is the time of day that this contract was first reported. Now, that's important, because if that contract was reported at 9:45 a.m., that's what it'll show in that column, regardless of how many other times it appears throughout the day. So that alerts you as to when it was first spotted, because they could be buying or trading that option all day long. Option contract is the contract which has been detected for unusual volume. This column is the price of the underlying stock at the time of this report. Volume is the volume of the options contract. It's the number of contracts that were traded that tripped this report. Percent change, that's the change in volume of this options contract. Now that change is in comparison to its normal daily volume. So for example, if the option normally trades 100 contracts per day, if today's volume is 200 contracts, that's a 100% increase. Okay, now if the normal volume for that option is 1,000 contracts a day, then it would require 2,000 to be 100% increase, and so on. Now, this column tells you whether or not there was a change in volume of the opposing side. So if you're looking at calls, this will tell you if there's a change in the puts. This is significant because if you see a massive change in volume for puts when you're looking at the calls, that means somebody's playing both sides. That might make a difference in your decision, because if they're playing both sides, then what they're expecting is a big move, but they don't know in what direction. Percent open. This is the percentage change in the open interest information for the stock. Now, open interest is the number of outstanding contracts that exist, that are held by people. Now, if that increases during this trade, that means that somebody generated new contracts that did not exist before. That could be significant, because if that number is 0, that means the big trade that you're seeing in this report is just some contracts changing hands, like me selling them to you and you selling them to somebody else. So that could be significant. 5-day accumulation. This tells you how many days in the last 5 days that the same stock had unusual options volume. This could also be significant, because if some big players are accumulating the stock, in other words, they're buying the stock or are interested in the stock several days in a row, that could be very significant. So if the number says 5, that means for 5 days in a row, this stock had unusual options volume. That could matter. All right?